Let's bring in the big gun, baby, Lou Merloni, to talk Red Sox offseason with us. Hey, thanks for getting up early with us, my friend. Welcome.
Early? My kid, I get him up at 5:45. I got to get him on a train. Are you kidding me? I've been up for 3 hours. I'm ready to go.
You shock everyone with that early stuff. Lou, you're making us look bad. We've all been up since 3 hours ago,
and
too,
you
I
have
think.
kids. It's not like you don't know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, Lou. I should have known better. Look,
Bachelors are asleep at 8:30, maybe.
This is one of the million reasons why I love you. So I'm going to set you up here. So when the season was over, when it was official, and the Yankees beat the Sox, we ran a season wrap from you that was like 2 minutes long. And I swear to God, bro, you know I've never lied to you. I caught the baseball Holy Ghost because you hit every bullet point of the season. You spoke to all of us as fans and media members with your season wrap. So I'm not going to ask you to replay that here. What I am going to do, though, because one thing I know you love doing is humbling haters. What would you say to some of the Red Sox off-season haters out there? Because I see this on my timeline all the time. People saying, oh, they're not going to spend any money this offseason. Why are you guys falling for this? Meanwhile, Lou, they got 3 All-Stars last offseason. This team is proving that, look, we're going to put a good product out here. The championship window's wide open, Lou. Yeah. I think they're due for a great offseason, and I imagine you do as well.
Well, ultimately, they have to prove it, right? They have to go out there, spend the money, and get the guys, okay? But I'm with you. A lot of people are already upset at John Henry and Craig Breslow for not doing anything, and before they've done anything. And to your point, I thought Breslow had a very good offseason last year. It was Crochet, it was Chapman, it was Bregman, and also Justin Wilson, who had a pretty good year for you as well. So let's just sort of wait and see. And I would say this, like, to be honest with you, since 2020 and the Mookie Betts trade, this has been a rebuild. Okay, rebuild the system, get some arms in here. And the Red Sox and John Henry, for as far as I know, has always been like, if I think we can win, I will spend. If I don't, I'm not going over that luxury tax. You can agree to disagree with that, whatever you want. But this team right now showed last year that the youth is here, that they're ready to win. They have an ace, they have a closer, they have a young star. They have a very good team and a deep team. And now it's time. So ultimately, like I said, they have to spend. If they don't do anything, we will all sit there and we will talk about it, right? We will get on them for not doing anything. But let's wait and see first. I think they will act.
Yep.
Well, this is why we tap on you, and I feel like it's almost an initiation at this point when we finally get guys like you to join us in the morning. He mentioned, he being Breslow, that they need to move the needle, and that's where they're going to be inspired to make off-season moves. What moves the needle for you? Outside looking in, what's one of the first steps that this team can make? Because there's so much talent. The young guys are making this future very bright for this team. I mean, the winnability feels like now or closer than it was beforehand. So what moves the needle for you, Lou?
A number 2 starter behind Garrett Crochet. That's the move. You have a lot of depth. You have a lot of young, promising arms that a lot of people like, and for good reason. You are developing more. You are drafting more. But I want to see that veteran with Crochet. Now, I want a 1-2 punch. You got a lot of young kids that can fill that back end of that rotation and could be stars. I want to see more of them. However, I think you need that guy to go with Crochet. You have to bring Bregman back, right? I mean, to get even, you have to bring Bregman back, and then you have to add on top of that. So to me, I don't see them diving into, say, a free agent pitcher. I can see the trade for the pitcher. I can see Bregman coming back and the big free agent signing and another power bat.
Let's go back to the starters, because I think everyone's fantasy, and it goes back to the trade deadline, obviously, is a guy like Joe Ryan. You know, a guy with term, a guy who's young, a guy who's a number 1 elsewhere, but here clearly would slot in as a 2 behind Crochet, who's a Cy Young caliber pitcher. But it's not, you know, that guy that is maybe a 2 somewhere else. He'd be a 3 here, but you're forcing him into that 2 situation. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be a viable Joe Ryan type. If it's not Joe Ryan, who is it to you?
Sandy Alcantara is another one. I thought that a guy coming off of Tommy John last year kind of has that, like, foundation year. And at the end of the year, his last 8 starts look more like the Cy Young candidate that he is. He's a name. Hunter Green, I don't know what the Reds are thinking. I guess they really need hitting, but I don't know why you'd give him up. But if he's available, he's another guy you're involved in. So I think, you know, there are some trades out there. There are also, you know, and to me, there's also some smaller signings rather than top of the level free agency. But those 2 guys, Ryan, Hunter Green, obviously, if he's available, Alcantara, you know, Mackenzie Gore, Now that Taboni's out in Washington, he knows your minor league system. So I think you're going to get a number 2, I think, through trade.
Hey, I know I'm playing fantasy baseball here, Lou. There's a lot of talk that Scooble could be available too. Now that's gonna be expensive, Lou. It's gonna be expensive. But damn it, if you tell me my offseason I get Scooble to go with freaking Crochet, are you kidding me?
Pedro and Schilling again. Let's go.
Lou, come on.
Yeah. I mean, if you have those 2 guys in the staff, I mean, that is just it's unfair, really, for the top 2. The only problem is it's going to give up a ton to get them, and you're also running the risk of you need to know if you can get an extension done. Are you going to go to free agency? Am I going to give up a ton only to watch him walk like what the Yankees did with Juan Soto? I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, sure, fair point. I want to ask you sort of a big picture playoff question, because we'll get to the World Series predictions later. But as you watch the Blue Jays and the Mariners advance, even on the NL side, as you watch this thing play out, do you think a healthy Red Sox team could have gone deeper than we think? Or like we're talking about this offseason, right? You need more pieces. Do you just feel like they weren't quite ready yet to go deep into this postseason? Or do you think a healthy team could have done it as you watch these other teams be successful, Lou?
See, the thing is, when you say healthy, it's like, okay, does that mean obviously Roman Anthony?
Right.
Meyer.
But does that mean Fitz, Dobbins, these other guys? Because you didn't have enough arms. I'm watching this playoffs. I'm watching what Toronto's doing with Louis Varland. And it's like, I get it. Like, he's your high leverage guy. I'm afraid that, like, if the Red Sox were still this deep, Whitlock would be back in the operating table again. We'd have to use him so often. These guys, so you need a ton of relievers, high leverage relievers. You needed starters, that 4th, 5th starter to go out to that bullpen. Your 4th, 5th starter was Conley Early and Harrison and Tolley. Like, you didn't have enough at the end of the year when you look at what it takes to get through the postseason. And so a healthy team, you probably beat the Yankees. Maybe you beat Toronto, but it's like I just don't think you had enough. These guys, you see the way they're getting used?
Yeah.
They're getting used every single day.
Yep.
And you just lost too much pitching.
Yeah, you mentioned Tolley and Early there. What do you see for those two? Because at one point, there was projection that maybe they could slot in the starting pitching, and then, of course, we see them get moved down to the bullpen. What do you want to see out of these guys, at least from the sample size we got?
Well, I think Early's the most polished one, right? He looks like a big league starter who has 5 pitches that can throw for strikes and attack you differently. Tolley is still a year away. He's like an off-season away from trying to find something soft, whether that's a changeup, whether that's a Garrett Crochet sweeper. We always say, like, it's his first year really in full pro ball. Like Conley Early, if you called up Conley Early after his first year, he wouldn't have looked like this. But he goes into an offseason, he goes into the lab, he fine-tunes some breaking stuff, he gets some more power in his game, and then we saw what he looked like in year 2. So I want to see what Tolley looks like in year 2. I want to see, the slider / cutter, whatever it is. I want to see if there's a changeup or a slow breaking ball to go with that power to make the fastball even better. So neither are finished products. Although Early looks like he's closer, so both of them are very promising. The question will really be, because we love him here, and if you think you're going to get a number 2, the rest of the league loves him too.
Yep.
And you're going to be wondering if they're going to be asking for him.
Going back to Bregman, when he signed that 3-year, 120 opt-outs after each season last year, it felt like, typical Scott Boras, right? But it felt like kind of a mercenary contract. Comes in, he was impactful. I know it didn't necessarily end well. There were injury issues the last, call it, month plus of the regular season, missed some time earlier on in the year. Even still, he was an all-star for the first time in years. Statistically, had himself a very good season. I'm sure you've spoken to him plenty. Do you feel like, we know he wants the payday, and Boras is going to get him the payday.
Oh, yeah.
All things being equal, does he want to be back here, or do the Red Sox have to overpay in any way to get him back here?
Yeah, I think he wants to be back here. I think the Red Sox want him to be back here, and I think he will be back here. I am not going to pay attention to every stupid report that I read from people that don't know anything about who's interested and where he's going and everything else. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing the emotional game. I'm not. Scott Boras is going to go out there. He's going to throw out the leaks to all of his media members and how the Red Sox aren't involved and how the Yankees are and the Phillies are and everybody else is. And in the end, I think the order is you go out and do your thing, Scott. This is why I pay you. And in the end, get me the most money you possibly can out of Boston because that's where I'm going back. Now, I could be completely wrong, but that's how I think this thing plays out. I'm hitting the mute button anytime I see a Bregman report, and I'm just going to wait till this thing gets finalized.
Lou is a
I always
savage.
say I'm not tall enough for the emotional roller coaster ride. You all are very clearly taller than
Lou.
I am, but I agree with that. Don't hop on.
He's a savage, dude. He's a savage. Hey, Lou, you brought up a power bet in the lineup. I always make Casey laugh with this because I say the Red Sox are missing a big, burly lumberjack type guy
rocks, so
that chews on rocks. So I mean,
stronger than get out.
You just want Schwarber back.
Yes,
is what
so
you're
with
saying.
that description,
that's what you want.
with that description, Lou, there's only two choices. Schwarbs, who should have never left, but that's another topic for another chat, and Pete Alonso. I mean, hey, if I give you a blank checkbook here, which one of those two do you want, or is it someone else that I'm missing?
Interesting enough, maybe Pete Alonso.
Okay.
Strictly because I think you need a right-handed power bat. I love Schwarber, but here's the thing with Schwarber. I don't think there's a chance in hell Dave Dombrowski lets him leave.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think it's a great atmosphere. I think it's a great city. I think Schwarber loves it. I think they love him. And I don't see that happening unless somebody blows it out of the water. I don't know. But Alonso just fits at that first base. You can slide into a DH spot at some point, but you need right-handed power. You see the way the playoffs go, right? I mean, the Blue Jays seem to be done. They're about to go home, and here comes the 3-run homer, right? Like that's something that you need. You need someone sitting in that 4-hole, 3-hole, 5-hole, whatever, that's going to potentially hit you 40. And that's what Alonso does. He plays every single day.
Okay.
Any players on your wish list that could bolster this batting lineup, considering, again, health being a major key for this team next year?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's I'm sort of looking at Pete Alonso at first base, and then we got to wait and see if outfielders get traded. You know, if you need a fourth outfielder, if you need a starting outfielder, is a second baseman, kind of in play, or do you feel like if you bolster everything around you can throw enough bodies at that position because you do have a lot of different guys that can play there? So as far as names go, I mean, to me, Bo Bichette is your Bregman insurance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just want to know how long Bregman's going to take, or I should say Boris is going to take to get this thing done. That's the biggest pain in how long the offseason lasts. But I think Bichette is another name that I really enjoy. Now, I don't know if he's a shortstop anymore.
Yeah.
But second base, third base, we'll see.
Yeah.
So unless you disagree with me on this, and please push back if you do, but I think we all believe it's a foregone conclusion that the Dodgers are going to win this World Series. Yet another ring, by the way, number 4 for Mookie Betts, so that's fun to watch as a Red Sox fan. But what I want to ask you is, you played the game for a while. You played with and against a lot of great players. And I've been saying I've felt this way for a long time, but it just becomes more true by the day. Shohei Ohtani, man, is there any argument against this guy being the greatest baseball player ever? Not just that we've seen in our lifetimes, because I know we weren't around for Babe Ruth, but what this guy is doing against the level of competition that he is doing it against. I can't fathom that we're ever going to see anything like this ever again.
Yeah, no, to me, he's the greatest player ever. I mean, just because of what he does. He's throwing 100 when healthy on the mound. And then it was like, well, his value is because he's a pitcher. He's like, okay, hold my beer, because I'm going to go out and DH and win an MVP and steal 50 backs. Like he's the greatest player in the world, greatest player ever. And it's kind of funny because before that clinching game, we were a day away, or at least a week away, leading into the World Series, talking about how Ohtani's a playoff disappointment and hasn't done anything. And then he single-handedly goes out and he wins a baseball game with the greatest single performance ever by a baseball player. So it's he's something else, especially when he's healthy and on the mound.
A modern-day Steve Nebraska, for anyone who gets that reference.
Hey, Lou, what are we thinking here? Dodgers in 5? That's where I'm at.
Dodgers in 3.
They just waved the white flag. We're good.
Yeah,
I had to start doing math there for a second.
The problem is they are exactly who we thought they were, right?
Yeah.
We've heard that one before. And they're the greatest team in the world. We saw when they accumulated that talent. The only question was, can they stay healthy when it matters most? And right now, your rotation with Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Ohtani, you have 4 Cy Young candidates when they're healthy. Unfortunately for the Jays, they're healthy. They're also well rested. They haven't grinded through a playoff like Toronto has, with every pitcher they have. Like They're just rested. They're healthy. They have four starters when healthy. Might be 4 of the top. You tell me, 10 pitchers in the game, 15 pitchers in the game, like all of them. This is why they're great, and they're healthy at the wrong time for the Blue Jays. I love the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
You know, I love everything about them, the way they grind it out. Bo Bichette may actually hurt them coming into this lineup as late as he is and not swinging a bat. If they try to pigeonhole him into this lineup, we'll see. It's just unfortunate, that injury. But I don't see how you can beat that rotation.
Oh, and they're going to be in the market, the Dodgers, for Kyle Tucker.
Of course they are.
And whoever else.
Of course they are.
Yeah,
Endless money.
It's all good.
I mean, this isn't, if we're being honest, I'm sure Lou agrees, this isn't even a great Dodgers team. It's just, they're unbelievable. And you're right. They're healthy at the right time.